Hello everybody. Welcome to today's video. Today, we will learn why industrial health and safety standards must be followed. Come, let us get into the video. First, let us see what health and safety is. Health is the absence of disease or ill health. Health relates not only to physical ill health but also psychological ill health. Safety is the absence of risk of serious personal injury. The study of health and safety involves the study of many different subjects including chemistry, physics, biology, engineering, psychology, sociology and law. The standard of health and safety may not be maintained in an industry due to barriers like complexity, conflicting demands and behavioral issues. The workplace can be complicated, involving the coordination of many people performing many different activities. Finding a solution to a specific health and safety problem can be complex. There are often conflicting demands placed upon people and organizations. The most common conflict of interest is between need to supply and the need to do it safely. The final one is behavioral issues. Good health and safety practice relies on behavior. Firstly, we must understand the size of the problem if the standards are not maintained. According to the International Labour Organization, there are 270 million occupational accidents and 160 million occupational diseases recorded each year. Around 2 million people die every year from occupational accidents and occupational diseases. 4% of the world's gross domestic product is lost each year through the cost of injury and absence. These figures relate to the number of accidents and cases of disease which are reported and recorded globally. Not everything is reported or recorded, however the real figures are almost certainly higher. The three main reasons why an organization has to manage health and safety are moral, social and economic. Firstly, when health and safety is not managed properly, people get injured and killed or suffer terrible diseases that have a massive impact not only on them, but also dependents, families, friends and colleagues. Society as a whole considers these events to be morally unacceptable. And injury or ill health should not be a price that has to be paid in order to generate revenue. Next is social expectations. This is also known as legal expectations. Most countries have laws that set standards for how organizations should conduct themselves with regard to health and safety. Failure to achieve these standards can lead to enforcement actions or prosecutions before courts. The last one is economic reasons. In an organization, health and safety is maintained simply because accidents and ill health costs money. When an accident occurs, there will be direct and indirect cost. These three reasons are vital for an organization to maintain and promote good standards of health and safety. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, there are 5 different hazards at a workplace. Those are safety, chemical, biological, physical and ergonomic. Safety hazards encompass any type of substance, condition or object that can injure workers. In many types of workplaces they can include spills on floors, walkways blocked by cords or boxes, falls from heights, machinery with moving parts, confined spaces and electrical hazards such as worn cords. Workers can be exposed to chemicals and liquids, gases, vapors, fumes and particulate materials. Chemical hazards include acids, pesticides, carbon monoxide, flammable liquids, welding fumes, silica dust and fiberglass fibers. Employees who work with other people, with animals or with infectious materials can be exposed to biological hazards such as blood, fungi, mold, viruses and animal droppings. A physical hazard can injure workers with or without contact. These types of hazards include radiation, working in extreme heat or cold, spending hours under the sun or being constantly exposed to loud noise. Ergonomic-related musculoskeletal disorders account for 33% of all employee injury and illness cases. These types of hazards occur when repetitive work, the type of work, or a certain position strains the body. These are the most difficult hazards to spot because problems build up over time. According to OSHA's 18001, there are 4 stages of health and safety management system. In the first stage, the policy is made and planning is done. Next, the framed policy is implemented into operation. Later, the implemented policies are checked and corrective measures are taken. In the final stage, the management reviews the corrective action taken. Here are 6 steps to determine the most effective measures to control workplace hazards and to minimize risk. Firstly, it is often cheaper and more practical to eliminate hazards at the design or planning stage of a product, process or place used for work. In these early phases, there is greater scope to design out hazards or incorporate risk control measures that are compatible with the original design and functional requirements. Next, if it is not reasonably practical to eliminate the hazards and associated risks, you should minimize the risk. The third step involves physically separating the source of harm from people by distance or using barriers. An engineering control is a control measure that is physical in nature, including a mechanical device or process. For example, this can be done through the use of machine guards, effective ventilation systems, and setting work rates on a roster to reduce fatigue. Administrative controls are work methods or procedures that are designed to minimize exposure to a hazard. Establish appropriate procedures and safe work practices such as limit exposure time to a hazardous task so that fewer employees are exposed, routine maintenance and housekeeping procedures, training on hazards and correct work methods, and use signs to warn people of a hazard. Provide suitable and properly maintained PPE and ensure employees are trained in its proper use. Examples include gloves, earplugs, face masks, hard hats, gloves, aprons and protective eyewear. PPE limits exposure to harmful effects of a hazard, but only if workers wear and use the PPE correctly. The International Labour Organization set out Convention C-155 and Recommendation R-164 to workplace health and safety. Some of the other international standards are ISO 9001 for Quality Management System, ISO 14001 for Environmental Management Standard, and ISO 12100 for Safety of Machinery. That's it for today. We'll meet you with another interesting video soon. Kindly do keep supporting DRM Engineering and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't.